Hello, judges of Basive. This is Kevin Dang speaking. My project is on conformity, measured through means of physical activeness, and my targeted audience of the survey are Sinosphere immigrants, and the reference groups are local Canadians, including fourth or fifth generations of immigrants. This project was briefly mentioned in my introduction. I got the inspiration when I was browsing through psychological related studies, and I have personally experienced this change since I found that my personal behaviors in terms of physical activeness, such as my sport related participation, my interest in sports, and just overall how engaged with the natural environment around me is, these physical behavior changed, which tied to my psychological reading got me this idea of the project to measure conformity of an individual using physical activeness as the root, since across Sinosphere, physical participation or physical activeness isn't an important attribute in the reference or in the original cultural group. It isn't a prevalent topic that people will usually mention or talk, and in stark contrast in Western countries such as Canada, where sport is very popular among kids and among basically the entire society. I did a survey on the topic since COVID. I can't do any in-person related things, so the whole survey is conducted online. I did a bit background research and I categorized the respondents into different categories such as gender, age, years since arrival in Canada, employed or not, and most importantly, social diversity. Now, I also put a lot of other questions, physical activeness related, on the survey. Those questions were supposed and designed to reveal the physical activeness and the opinions and the behaviors of the respondents. They will not be listed here. Overall, the survey did fairly well. I collected 103 respondents' data, and from the data, I can draw a conclusion that conformity do indeed change. Since the exposure to multiple reference groups, almost, if not every respondent had shown some degree of physical activeness change. This can be attributed to load of work or personal choices, but it's highly likely that the person, suggesting by the conformity theory of compliance, received this subtle cue from their social interaction with others, not essentially peer pressured the person into having a more active lifestyle, but perhaps the cue that suggested him into thinking, if all of the person around me are doing it, why won't I do it? Essentially, the theory of conformity. However, the survey has a lot of problems. For example, almost, if not a lot of the questions are not numerized for calculation. When I was setting up the function to determine a average conformity index, I realized since so many questions on the survey were written in Word for the respondent to choose and respond to, I can't really numerize a lot of the stuff. For example, in one question I mentioned, how would you rate your physical activeness? One in a linear scale from 1 to 10, and another one for a choice that best describes the current situation. For the one that described the current situation, it was very hard to numerize, and that sort of question came up a lot as a reoccurrent thing in the survey, which caused a lot of trouble. I also learned how to use Excel through the survey, since I have to analyze 103 data, and it isn't easy to just go through them one by one with the response form. So that's one thing I learned from the survey, you can say. In conclusion, the theory is that when a person is now exposed to multiple reference group, it is likely that its compliance and conformity would change and shift. Overall, I would say it's rather a success, though further study should be made on the survey and its relevant data. That's all for the project, and thank you so much for listening. Have a nice day.